All right, hey guys, I'm here for another interview, this time with Gemini, GGE Mini. Tosa says you all might know him from his AllThingsProtoss, you might watch his stream, but he's a pretty cool guy even though he does play Protoss. So, I'm going to ask you about a bunch of things, like your recent results at Austin, since that's what we're doing here, as well as your build orders, your stream, just general stuff. So, let's start off with the most recent, which is your performance at DreamHack Austin. So, you did play, and what were your results?
So I was in a group with Showtime, Panda Bear Me, and Strider. Showtime, obviously, easiest player in Europe. I expected to get a very easy 2 over him. Panda Bear Me, really high-level Zerg player in an A, so he's actually someone I'm good friends with. He's been on past teams and stuff like that. So, but he's definitely better than me. I was expecting to come in and having to do I have to do really well, and he has to do he has to perform under his skill level if I should want to be able to take a win. And then Strider is just he's also an old friend. He's also friends with Panda Bear Me, so we were all in old clans and stuff together. So that was kind of cool. But he's just 4-9 Terran, so I was expecting to take that. First series versus Panda Bear Me, it went 2-0 because I wasn't really warmed up or anything. Okay. It took a while to get everything warmed up because there was a lot of issues with the PCs and stuff because you couldn't click on the taskbar and stuff like that. So we had to. I was waiting forever to get my hotkeys off my USB or whatever, and so stuff like that was really obnoxious to deal with. So I didn't really have all that much time to practice. So it was kind of not really too warmed up. So the first series was kind of just whatever. I just kind of I tried my best to do whatever I could with it, but it wasn't that great. Second series with Strider was a 2-0. That was a nice little confidence boost just to make sure and another just kind of more warm-up games, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the second series versus Panda Bear Me because he lost to Showtime. Of course, Showtime was the only one I would easily more than Strider 2-0'd. So unfortunately, I didn't get to play him. But versus the second series versus Isaac, Panda Bear Me. The first game I did really well. I feel I was playing definitely above my level, but I threw it super bad. I had a full straight maxed carrier HT army, and but he was doing really well killing my economy, and so all I had was 1 base left. But he was just on pure Hydra lurker the entire game.
Okay.
And there was 1 lurker at my last mining base, and he moved right out of cannon range. He was getting shot by a cannon. He moved out of cannon range, and I sent an observer over to get it, but it apparently died before it got there, and I didn't realize it. So I'm trying to do this huge fight. He's spreading his Hydras everywhere, kiting everything out. And then meanwhile I had no income because I have to pull all my probes off that base so it doesn't get killed by the lurker.
Yeah.
That was kind of obnoxious, but then I lost the second game because it was just me being bad.
Oh, okay. Well,
it had highs and lows. I felt like I was getting that good tournament boost, but then I don't know, not enough, I guess.
No, not enough. And for people that are I don't actually know, so I'm going to pretend that I do. For people that don't know, do you consider yourself an NA pro? Do you really take competition seriously? Is it what event number is this for you that you have competed in?
Yeah, so for not many people know this because I didn't really do anything with it, but for a year or so I took time off from school to play full time. That was in 2014 to 2015, and it was mostly I can't focus on school right now. I'm really not enjoying it. I can't, and I've always had it on my mind where I want to try to play full-time Starcraft just because it's a dream. You always want to try.
Yeah.
So I did that again. I just didn't really do too much with it. I did GM, mid GM stuff. Went to a couple tournaments. Detroit, MLG Anaheim, Red Bull Detroit was maybe a couple others. I can't remember. Some small lands in Toronto, I think. But yeah, again, just not really huge placements, obviously, because I'm bad. Now I'm just doing content stuff, and I'm just kind of. I'm always someone who wants to play well. Obviously, I want to have something behind it to back up whatever I'm doing. Because I'm doing full things on AllThingsProtoss with the build order guides. I stream. I try to do coaching as well. So I want something there to be yo, I'm good, I'm reputable. But I'm not trying to be a competitor right now. I just go to these events because it's fun. I enjoy still competing, but I'm not going there to be yeah, I need to get top 8 or whatever. Right? I need to get into the money zone because so I can I don't know, justify it or something. Yeah, that's not really where I'm here.
Yeah, and you're still in school, right?
Yeah, I'm finishing college. I finished my history degree like this last semester, and then I have one more year where I'm doing student teaching for my education program.
Yeah. But you're like, it's the summer break now. So.
Yeah, of course. So now I'm doing like my whole like full hard, try hard SCT shit.
That's what's really nice about Austin, actually, because it's in NA, obviously, and the NA players, a lot of them are in college, so they actually get to practice a little bit and, you know, attend, as opposed to saying I have finals or exams or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're bringing up, like, okay, so you're not really a competitor. You tried and it didn't really work out, but now that you're just, you know, you use that as fuel almost to teach other people, which is great. And I think that's where a lot of people are starting to really get to know you, because you're giving this consistent content. But I actually started noticing you because you posted a lot about or to AllThingsProtoss. Can you tell me a little bit about those, like, subreddits in general, which I don't frequent that much? Like, are they a really important part of StarCraft 2 in your minds? How has the growth been of people that you're in contact with? How many people say that it's, you know, a wonderful thing that you do? Just like in general, what's up with it?
So the subreddits, I think they do serve a good, valuable aspect of the community, because like if you go to our Starcraft, for example, like basically like the community sites for nowadays and for the last, I don't know, maybe like maybe in like 4 or 5 years or so, like I keep forgetting how like late it is in fucking SCU scene, but like it's basically been our Starcraft and Team Liquid, right?
Yeah.
So like big 2 community sites, and so everything getting funneled into those 2 sites, there's not too much that can be applied to like exactly like really direct and straight strategical, you know, analysis and all that kind of stuff. Like you see some random posts pop up every now and then where it's like, yeah, like I can't figure out how to beat this all in or something, and then it's like everyone's saying, just go to AllThingsProtoss, go to AllThingsTerran, go to AllThingsZerg, they have more stuff, like stuff like that. So and it's very low. You don't really see much attention to it usually. It's just kind of that. You don't get the big threads where there's huge discussion happening unless it's a balanced wine thread, and of course everyone loves to do that. So that having something where they can be like, yeah, you can go to these areas where there's more specific, detailed answers and stuff like that. I think that serves a good purpose.
Are there a lot of people that contribute more as like a mentor role, or is it mostly people going in and asking questions? Yeah,
so it's both. For AllThingsTerran and AllThingsZerg, I can't say specifically just because I don't go there, obviously, because I'm not those races. But for AllThingsProtoss, at least, ever since I've been there, and I like was working as a mod there, like I tried to make sure it's like an actual good community to bring people in and to keep them there, because it's an important part. Like I said, I think it does serve a purpose. So we get a lot of people coming in, like asking questions, giving replays to analyze, stuff like that. But then, like over time, I see more regulars continuing to stay and answer other people's questions as well. So like we have a lot of people like me and the other mods, like Alugan, specifically. We are doing a lot of like we just answer a lot of stuff that comes up right there. We do a lot of replay analysis stuff for them. We do like community like nights and stuff like that to do like arcade games and stuff like that. So we still have a lot of people staying, but then other people that aren't mods as well. Obviously, like there's a lot of people that do other stuff. So yeah, it holds its own as well. So yeah, you're a big contributor to that, but you teamed up with Team Liquid basically, right?
Yeah. That's the story. To do the build order of the week.
Yes. Build of the week.
Yes, and so that's obviously Protoss focused, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how, like, did you approach them? Did they approach you? Was it something that you've always wanted to do? Did you see a lack of, you know, Protoss strategy discussion? Like, just generally, why did that come to be? Okay, so I have always done educational stuff, like, ever since I was in Starcraft, basically. Okay. So, like, I started in Wings Beta, like, very early Wings Beta, and I got up to, like, whatever Diamond, like, was the highest, whatever, back then. So, like, and then Release happened, and I'm playing stuff through there. So like ever since I got to a point where I feel like I have some form of knowledge to give to other people, I've always wanted to do that. So that is where it started, all the way back in like 2011, back in a site called sc2armory.com. If any of you sick nerds remember that, that is like the OG. Like that's where I'm from basically, and that community has like a massive like hold on like that. I have so much nostalgia from that site. It was really cool. But so it started there, and then eventually I would do like other stuff like that, other whatever content, videos or something, I don't know, every now and then. Then once I found AllThingsProtoss, which was in like 2014, 2013 maybe, and then I started actually
doing this thing. Like, what do you guys think if I just do like a build every week and I just talk about it? And they're like, yeah, that sounds great. So I started doing that, and it was just because I wanted to. It was fun. I enjoyed taking whatever content and breaking it down.
Yeah.
Because no one did that. Like, there was no consistent build orders being ripped from pros and then broken down to explain to other people that in the way that I was doing it. So I wanted to do that. And I just did that as just like a passion project pretty much for a long time. And then it wasn't until this, like, it was like until like the end of last year, I think, beginning of this year, something like that. And TL came and asked me if they want to partner up with Spawning Tool and stuff like that.
All right, so they approached you.
Yeah.
But it all came from a desire to teach people, and I guess it makes sense because now you want to become a teacher.
Yeah,
so
it has its roots, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. Do you ever find, I mean, do you find it always interesting to do those analysis? Coming from a Terran player, and we have our own intricacies, like every race does, but Protoss always, to me, was the most build order dependent, and always had the most slight variations of their build orders. Like, literally one probe off of gas, and suddenly it's a bit different, right? So do you find it that's like really just always fresh and new? You never get bored of teaching Protoss, or do you kind of wish you would also expand into maybe other races or more general things?
Yeah, so, I mean, build order analysis obviously has its own, like, niche kind of area, because like there's only so many people that want to look at a build and rip it like specifically and be like, yeah, oh, I want to follow this perfectly and be like Deer, be like Zest or whoever. So there's kind of a niche with that. So I do feel like there should be other opportunities where I do other stuff. So I'll do other types of analysis videos. Like I've done like a multitask mechanics video before that I kind of like a lot. I want to do more stuff like that as well, if I can find the time or figure out what other topics to do it on. So other things related to that. But I'm still like, I still enjoy doing the analysis because like I've tried to open up as well to be more than just saying, okay, this is the build, this is how you do it, and that's it. Like that's, if you look back at some of my old guides, it's pretty much just that. So like now I kind of do, okay, this is the build, this is how you do it, but this is how it fits into the meta. This is how the other things revolve around it. Like this is how you can react to other ways. This is why it came to be. And so like this is where like all these different things fit in. So that I'm talking more about Starcraft and Protoss meta in general, and like how to improve in other areas of Protoss instead of just like, okay, do this build and do it like this.
Yeah, no, I've read a couple of them, and it's really helpful when you describe also like, you know, reasons why as it came back up, you know. So, so I definitely appreciate it. As Protoss is still a bit of a foreign entity to me, but. Have they helped doing all this analysis and teaching people? Has that helped you as a player at all, or do you think that it's just too much time taken away from practicing? Yeah,
Artosis actually asked me this on the pylon as well, and I found it an interesting question there too, because it like I don't specifically think about it when I'm doing that, right? I'm not saying I'm doing all these builds and doing all these analyses because I want to better myself specifically, but now that like once he asked that and like when you asked that, I look back at it and be like, yeah, it honestly did, because like analyzing all the builds and all the strategies and stuff, like I would do it anyway beforehand, but not always to the specific depth that I do when I try to do a guide on it. So now that I'm trying to put so much more effort into doing it, it feels like I'm just getting more, like I'm just seeing more of it, and I'm doing, I'm like I can't even really explain it very well. It's just I'm like, yes, I do feel like it's helping me because I'm looking at it so much more in depth and compared to what I was doing before, and it's something that I was doing anyway, but I guess I'm doing it more now or something. I don't know. I just feel like I'm doing something more. I feel like I'm researching. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I think a lot of people who have gone over into more of the analysis roles, like Pig, for instance, they've mentioned that they feel like they've improved. Like they can't put the hours like they used to into just grinding out games.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I was trying to. I was trying to think of the words for that. So like it's hard because I feel like I have all this great knowledge now from doing it, but I can't. I'm not putting 10 hours a day laddering or anything like I tried to a couple years ago or anything. So I can see it in bursts, and and when I'm watching pro streams and stuff like that, I'm seeing like, oh yeah, like I know this is how everything's supposed to be happening. But then when I go to play and then I can't reach that, I start to get a little frustrated too. Yeah. And so yeah, I don't see it like fully as much as I feel like I could if I wasn't doing like all the other type of educational stuff. But like again, that's just not where I'm at right now, so I don't mind it too much.
So I guess like I'm actually gonna get a little bit like real, maybe this will be like dramatic. I don't know. But I'll start off with: do you think there is a lack of specific analysis like you're doing in the scene? I mean, some of our like one of the greatest moments for me was when one of the Korean casters was translated, describing why MVP's new mech style in like 2013 or something like that was 2012 was so genius, you know, and it was like the talk of the town. But it feels like, you know, maybe there's a lack of that a little bit. You know, we don't have these like casters getting such fantastic calls that everyone has to translate them. And then, is it in your opinion just like, you know, maybe more appealing to the general like audience? Is it more people know Starcraft? Is Starcraft not you know, good, deep enough game anymore? Or do you think that just it happens so rarely because it happens so rarely? Like it's just there's no explanation.
So. Yeah, I don't. It's an interesting question because, like, of course, especially when I'm younger, I would like be, you know, Mr. Edgy teenage Gemini and be like, "Oh, what are these casters doing? Like, I know so much better than them. I could analyze every single part of this. Like, blah blah blah." Like, but like, it is hard to be able to keep up with everything though because because I'm thinking of this as just from a Protoss perspective. Yeah. Like I don't focus on learning about Terraners or like other than just watching streams and kind of just generally trying to figure out stuff as I watch more, but I don't look at them the way I do Protoss, so then I have to realize that coming from the caster's perspective, they have to cover everything. So I should not be so like judgmental about like if they can't specifically like they know like, oh, Deer did that build exactly this time, that time, this like last year, like it was because of this, his teammate did that, and like I just like crap like that. Like I can understand it, but I still kind of wish I could like kind of do like more stuff like that where it comes out a little bit more, because like there is some stuff that I still watch, of course, and I'm like, but like, oh wait, but this is so cool because like he did this thing, and like I know it's because of this, like, but you like obviously you can't know everything, so it's hard. But
well, do you think there should be more, I guess, acceptance of like not back and forth, but almost like, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm a caster, I guess, so I can say like personally, but there used to be this really big like just like divide between players and casters back in like 2012 again, actually. Either you were one of the best pros who turned into a caster and that you got the respect, or there was a lot of talk about players like saying like they don't represent us well, they don't know the game.
I remember all that.
I mean, there used to be actually like a couple like big fights that would happen behind the scenes, but it feels like it got a bit better. But do you think right now that we could really benefit from just being able to acknowledge like, I don't know why Deer did this thing when I'm casting GSL, right? And if I say I don't know why Deer did this, I'll think about it. Do you think that if you're like, hey, at CG Gaming, like he did this because this and this and this, like, do you think we need more of that? And then I retweet you, and then it's just like, okay, we're learning together, and I can't know everything, and you can know everything about Protoss. I mean, is there a reluctance from players and analysts to do that because casters have not received it well, or is it again just something where there's not a lot of people doing that hardcore analysis who feel like they should speak up about it?
I feel like there's a respect issue in that, because there'll be so many times where I see that in a game that I'm watching, and I'll want to be like, hey, wait, you can totally add this cool thing, and like I'm doing it in the most respectful, I'm trying to do it in the most respectful way possible, because like I just want to help, but I know that they're going to read it as, you're dumb, why don't you know this, here's me, here's Mr. Twitch Chat GM giving you some advice, like, you're not, like, Mr. I'm not a caster giving you advice, and I just know it's going to look bad, so I feel like that bridge should, I don't know how it should be,
right?
I don't know, gapped, what is that,
yeah,
bridge?
Kind of.
I don't know, that gap, I don't know, shut up.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how to do that, because unless I just do that and start looking like an asshole maybe sometimes. I don't know. So I feel like that does need to happen more. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to do it other than just, I don't know, becoming better friends with people so that it doesn't come off as bad. Because that's just, that personally, and when I see other people do it too, it's like, that just seems like to be the general feeling towards that kind of that kind of feedback. It seems like everyone just kind of wants to be like, okay, they see a cast and it's like, oh yeah, good job, you did so well, like,
it's true.
You kind of were shit in that area, but like, nah, great job, it was overall good. So like, that's kind of what I feel about that whole thing.
I have more questions about this, but just really quickly.
20 minutes?
Yeah, it's getting around there. 4 seconds to go.
Ehan timing.
Just restart it. Has to do that clap thing again because it helps. Just clap 3 times.
Now?
Yeah. Thank you. So, anyways, we're talking about like caster-player relationships, basically, and how hard it is for the players not to come off as assholes if they tweet at us, you know, like, "Hey, you got this wrong." But do you also think that there's a bit of lack of just communication in general between players and casters? I mean, I know maybe you're not the absolute correct person to ask because you're not like, you know, the top foreign really. Pro or whatever. But I still think I want your opinion on it. Where it's just like, do you think that we should be having those sit downs? And actually, I'll tell this story. Like, Heroes apparently actually invites their players the day before rehearsals even, and lets them sit down with the casters and talk about how, you know, their strategies have been developing, what they want to be kind of like communicated as on the cast. And when I heard that, I was just like, well, that sounds like so amazing.
Yeah.
Right now, if the casters want to have any deep knowledge of a person, they either watch their stream, which people stop streaming before events, so it's kind of hard, or they ask them directly, which can sometimes just not work out. You know, they don't respond or they don't like you. You never knew, but yeah, do you think that would be like a really big contributor? Like, we should be more open to communication between players and casters, or that Blizzard should help push the same thing they do in Heroes for Starcraft?
I think so. I think that would be a great idea. Like, I didn't know about that either, and that's honestly really cool. Like, I've had a few people, like, in the past come to me asking me just, like, some simple things, like Protoss, like, general things in preparing for casts or whatever content they were making. So, and stuff like that, like, yes, I would love to do that. I would, like, if someone wants to ask me because they think I'm reputable in some way, like, that's cool. Yeah. And I feel like other people would also not feel like they're invading on them or like trying to push them or anything like that. I feel like they would also be open to be like, yeah, I'll share this little bit with you.
I feel
if
like
it doesn't detract from their own play specifically.
Right. Like, obviously, if you told me you were going to DT Blink entire tournament, I would be like, this is what Gemini's going to do.
Yeah.
But like, to kind of expand on the topic, like, it does seem like an obvious answer. Like, of course, players and commentators should be communicating to each other. But there is also, I think, a bit of a stigma between many different types of people, fans, players, whatever, even commentators themselves, where it's like, well, it's my job to do this, so it feels almost like cheating just to go up to someone and be like, you know, what exactly is the meta, because I don't understand it. But, I mean, that does seem wrong,
It seems like an elitist just attitude in general, right?
Yeah. But it's like also a stubborn thing, I guess, for the people that are, you know, because I feel like I would love to go up to someone, right, at Euthermal Hearthstone, something like that, and be like, why is Terran doing this thing?
Yeah.
But then what if that makes them think that I'm, like, dumb? But it's a dumb thing to think, because it's better to know than to just be like...
It's the good old no question is wrong kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
No dumb question. Yeah. I had something to say, but I totally forgot. Anyway, continue.
Oh, okay. I was like, you look at her say something. No, but anyways, I just wanted to elaborate on that. But I think that it would be like extremely beneficial, but also to have analysts like you. So going back to that kind of point, there's something also I've noticed in other esports where there does seem to be a lot more emphasis, and I'm talking like big leagues. They actually have like a stats guy, for instance.
Yeah, like league and stuff.
Like, this guy played this hero this many times and won this much, especially if he got this item at X time. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't really exist in StarCraft. We know our timings for build orders and kind of that stuff, but we don't really have stats, and we don't have, I want to say, like analysts like who really dig deep, because as casters we're a lot about just entertaining. Do you wish that there was a role like for you, for instance, to come to DreamHack and be like, you know, look, Deer, and he's not here, but Deer does this.
I don't know why I brought up Deer either. They just kind of came up in my head. It's probably all that Reddit memes I made.
Yeah, something like that, like XYZ at this time, just to have like that open database. Would it make a better cast, or would it be too filled with statistics?
I think it'd be great. Like, so that's something that I always like about the GSL cast. How even though it's usually not too much, it's usually just the matchup between two players or the map statistics or something like that.
Exactly.
But it still adds something, because most of the players, or most of the viewers, I mean, don't know that. They don't look at Oligolac and check all the different stats and all that thing, or they don't go to Wikipedia to figure it out, or they don't crunch the numbers themselves. And so I think that's just a valuable thing, and I think it would help legitimize like Starcraft broadcasts even more than than they already are, just because it just seems professional to have so many like exact stats just so you can whip out like a card and be like, so he did this on this map, he did it this many times, it worked this many, it didn't work this time versus that player, like, and overall that means that this map is good. Like, I don't know, it just seems more, it just seems like you actually know what you're talking about, and it just sounds much more legitimate.
When you use numbers, it sounds really
exactly.
9 out of 10 times you use numbers, you sound smarter.
And 69% of statistics are made up. So if you have them written down already, you don't have to go through that.
But I think there is a bit of a fear, as I said, like, you know, you don't know your stuff, but also just that the cast gets too technical. You know, you're like too much.
I mean, then it would just become a balance of the caster's own ability to mix the stats with actual, you know, more entertaining jibes. You know, have, I don't know, Rotterdam do some statistic analysis, and then Jeff does some meme about him, just saying, you're too analytical, whoa, and I don't know, just whatever Jeff does.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for those thoughts on that. But going on, so what would you describe as like your future StarCraft 2 goals? Like, are you just wanting to be the analyst guy? Do you want to see StarCraft get more, you know, analysis and that type of professionalism to it, or are you just content being a fan, kind of being around the scene?
I mean, yeah, I've always been a fan, and that's probably what I always see myself as. Like, it's hard to see myself as anything else, just because I've like grown up watching this game at this point, and it just become like a part of me. And I've been a fan for so long of it that it's very difficult to see myself as anything other than a fan specifically. So like, I'll always be that, but like, if there's other things that I can do, that's obviously sick as well.
I mean, if there was a golden opportunity to be the analyst guy for DreamHack,
like that'd be sick.
WCS.
Like, Blizzard, but like, that'd be sick. But I've always seen myself as a fan. Like, right now, I'm still like, you know, I'm going through school. I need to make sure that I have that all covered. I'm trying to figure out how to get back to Korea, because I was there last summer doing study abroad, but I want to actually go there again to be a teacher there, so that I can, you know, be more close to GSL and, you know, still be kind of StarCraft connected. Whereas if I do teaching here, I feel like I'd start to have to distance myself. So
yeah, for sure. And that's a very good segue, because if you don't know about this guy, he's a bit of a Korea boo, and I am too. So it's like
that's
no shame
a harsh
or anything.
term.
But it's that's what people call people like us. Anyways, but I almost did the whole teaching thing in Korea. But if you have a degree in it, it's like you get a really cushy job.
Yeah,
it's actually pretty nice.
That's why I'm trying to get the degree.
Yeah, so
before I go there.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But like, really quickly. So I mean, I know that you enjoy Korea overall. Otherwise, you wouldn't want to move there. But you know, give me like, I mean, in your words, and this might take up 20 minutes, but why are you such a fan of the Korean players?
I cannot explain this very well. Like, I don't know. It just comes, and this is going to sound like super weird, but it honestly comes from just it comes from the mechanics of how you play the game. So, I mean, like, when I started playing, obviously, like, Koreans are the best, so, like, I'm going to obviously, like, look at them to see who plays the best. But then, like, I started just seeing how they play, and by how they play, I literally mean, like, how they, like, play with, like, keyboard, mouse, like, monitor, so, like, the way they, how precise their mouse control is and stuff like that, like, the way that they use their hands on the keyboard and stuff like that, that just became so interesting to me comparatively to, like, foreigners, because, like, if you put them side to side, like, and you put, like a foreigner screen next to a Korean screen, like, I could tell you the difference 100% of all the different ways that they, like, use the mouse specifically and stuff like that. Like, it is so, I don't know, something about it is so interesting, and I just started kind of, like, watching the Korean pros more because of that, so I just started becoming more like, I want to watch the Koreans instead of the foreigners, and if they're the ones that are playing the best, I'm going to continue watching them as well anyway. And that's kind of been like a small, like a small little obsession, like, next, like, when I'm playing as well. Like I was a big Liquid Hero fan, obviously.
Yes.
Many people know me from that originally, but so, like, I tried to, like, copy, like, a lot of his settings, like, to, like, bring my mouse sensitivity down, because, like, he had, like, perfect mouse precision and stuff like that. Like, I found out that a lot of Koreans actually touch they press the control key on their keyboard with the bottom of their pinky instead of curling it. I would always curl it, and, like, I would have, like, pinky, like, my pinky would hurt because of that.
Yeah.
And, like, I was like, this is really uncomfortable, like, I don't want to do this. And, like, I saw them doing it, and I was like, whoa, that seems, I tried it, and I was like, this is so comfortable, and I just forced myself to do that, like, stuff like that. I just like the small optimizations of, like, how to use a keyboard and mouse and stuff like that. So that's just been always interesting to me. And that's again, just like a small part of that. And just because of StarCraft in general, like I've just continued to like be surrounded by the Korean, or introduced to the Korean culture through StarCraft. I just started going into it more and just becoming more interested. And I've always wanted to go to Korea ever since I saw the GSL quali VODs from Artosis in like 2011, late 2010. Like I was like, I need to go there. Like that would be so cool. So I was super happy to finally go.
And it was an amazing experience.
Oh,
right?
It was great. It was wonderful. And so like I just want to go back again immediately, basically.
No, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, it's really hard to explain why I think that, because you know, there's people kind of like us. I kind of put myself into that category of just like, I can't quite explain why I prefer the Koreans so much, even when they're the obvious like winners who like the underdog story. And I'm just like, no, I really like when innovation wins.
Yeah, right. Like I just like to see people be good. Like
yeah. But it does happen. But some other people are like, you know, they want the hometown hero, and in StarCraft, hometown means not Korea.
Yeah, unlucky.
Yeah, so it can be. You can sometimes feel like an outcast nowadays, I think, if you're actually just pure Korean fanboy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so specifying those Korean players that you enjoy, can you list the top players that you love right now?
At the moment?
Yeah.
So Trap, number one.
Okay.
Even when I was like a huge Hero fanboy and he was still playing, like I still like Trap number two, like very close number two.
Okay.
Ever since he won.
Red.
No, he won MLG Anaheim in 2014, but before that he was at the WCS 2013 finals, the one that Deer won.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that was like when he was on Seoul or whatever. Like I saw him there and I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like I saw some of his Pro League VODs before that. I thought he was a cool player. He did cool like Storm Drop openings and stuff like that. So like, and then he was on IM, which was when Hero was in the IM team house playing for them for Pro League when he was still on Liquid. And so like, and they like sat next to each other too. So like, and over time I could see the development of Trap through Hero, and vice versa. They're very similar players because Trap is a more refined Hero. Like Hero's like the crazy, like I will harass you nonstop, like and just keep throwing shit at you, and he doesn't know how to keep it back, and he just kind of weird builds. Like Trap is the refined version of that. So like Trap is the player that Hero could have been if he was more. Anyway, I can go on for that for longer. So like Trap. Honestly, Deer has gone up really high after this GSL. Like I'm enjoying his play a lot.
Actually, on again, good segue is, can you explain? Like I saw your tweets. That was actually what I was like. I woke up and I didn't watch GSL, and I saw your tweets, and I was like, Jesus, okay. Can you explain? I guess for the people that watch this interview, like why did Deer impress you so much? That specific GSL.
So it was the Rogue series. Because like obviously the first series versus 2, like everyone's looking at that and we're like, okay, Deer's out of here. Like that one engagement where he walks back and he move commands. He doesn't actually move at any of his army once he's stuck, but he gets like a nutty ass storm ring. Like other than that, I feel like he played really well in the Rogue series, because the second game specifically on Acid Plant, like the Swarm Host stuff, that was a nutty game. Like he did so well. He saw the Nidus originally from Rogue. That was his original plan. So he was even. Like Rogue just didn't do it at all. It was really even early on. It was just kind of a really even mid game throughout. And then Rogue goes Swarm Host, which catches him off guard, because who the fuck goes Swarm Host? And Swarm Hosts are really difficult to deal with when you don't see them coming, and it's very difficult. They're just difficult to deal with in general, and I don't know why more Zergs don't go for them, but he did it very well. Like, and the way he did it was perfect, because you're supposed to obviously deal with Swarm Hosts by being aggressive during their downtime, right? Like they spawn the Locust, you have a huge amount of time before you can do anything. So you're supposed to be aggressive during that downtime, because it's a massive wasted supply. And so he was doing that extremely efficiently throughout the entire mid-game. He was attacking consistently, and every time he would even force the Locust Wave to come out, he'd be like stutter-stepping with his Immortals back every time, like super well, and forcing Rogue to just filter into his army with like all the other roaches he had. And he was just taking really favorable engagements, having harassment groups going all over the place. And then he eventually just like lost everything, because he just took one bad fight.
Right.
And then he was down like, what, 90 supply, right?
It was insane.
It was like insane amount of supply. And then he just plays it like he just plays it beautifully, dude. Like he puts out, like, he has nothing. The only things he has are Zealot weapons. He just puts them on the Swarm hosts because he knows that Rogue is so low economy that he has to use the Locust waves to kill the Zealots so that the Swarm hosts don't die, because the Swarm hosts are the only thing keeping him in the game. He then does constant Zealot run-bys after that. He has nothing back at home. He's just making Immortals. He sends Zealot harassments around because he then knows that, again, Rogue's economy is so bad, he needs to keep his economy alive. So he forces the Roaches back. So now he's starting to get some more Immortals, some High Templar out. Rogue kind of like resettles a little bit to regroup. And then he goes in for a big push, but kind of throws it a little bit there because he like gets stormed a lot because he was going in front of the Locust, and he just kind of clumped up. But then even after that, he continued to do counter harassment and counter pushes at the same time, and he would time it with the Locust waves. Like, Locust waves would come out, he'd be like microing perfectly, forcing Rogue to funnel in really badly, and then there'd be Zealots going at the same time. Like, oh my god, it was just amazing. Like, that game's just boosted Deer up like 5 ranks on my favorite players list. Like, that was insane.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a bait just to get you to nerd out for a second.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. But yeah, because I think you're right. Like, with the first series, he just was like, oh, it's Deer, who has not really performed since that 2013 WCS tournament was. So, and then that happened, and then he even started doing well again on online tournaments. It all seemed to be kind of off the back of that. So, very, very cool to hear why you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, with that performance, do you think he's actually a contestant for even the finals?
Potentially. It's just that Zest's PvP is nuts.
Yeah.
And he's got him in the round of 8.
Okay, I'm really glad you said that as a guy that like learns all things Protoss, because I feel like I say that and people are just like, yeah, but Syssem's always slumping. I'm like, yeah, but even in his worst slump, his PvP was good.
I mean, like, I was doing that too. I was like, because Artos is always just like, yo, Zest is not slumping, man. Like, just because he's not playing for 2 months doesn't mean he's not, like. So I would always try to find any opportunity to just be like, Artos is, no, you're wrong. He's finally slumping. But I just kind of admitted it and just be like, no, yeah, he's just good, like, all the time. And like, his PvP has just statistically been so good over time. And like, he had a kind of a rough PvP in the round of 32 versus Trap, just because like he was sick, and I think just Trap played well, just played better than him. So I think Zest's PvP in general is just something that can always be really, really good. However, if Deer just practices super well, like, I don't know exactly how well Deer's PvP has been recently because he hasn't really played it too much, but like, it could go either way, but I still feel like it's going to be kind of hard against someone like Zest.
I agree. Deer has not had many opportunities to play PvP. There actually just seems to be sometimes a lack of... There's almost never a lack of Terran, although I know there have been some GSL's lack of Terran, but it doesn't feel that way because Korea's just Korean Terran. But there's definitely felt like a couple of times there's been a lack of Protoss, like, legit there's been a lack of Protoss, or it felt that way.
This time, not quite.
Yeah, no, not this time, though. We actually are getting into the lack of Zergs nowadays. So
I don't care.
I mean, just briefly, do you all right. Do you think that I was going to ask about just not necessarily balance, because that might be the obvious go-to, but just how? And what are your thoughts on the fact that it's Korean Terrans, it's not foreigner Terrans, it's European Zergs, it's not Korean Zergs. I mean, can you see any reason for why this, like, why aren't there a lot of really great Zergs? I can name like 4 or 5, and then I kind of start to run out in Korea, or why there aren't a lot of Terrans that are in foreigners, or what region has the best Protoss or is the most saturated with Protoss?
I don't really understand it either. It's just, it seems like there is a massive bank of mid-tier Zergs, and then it seems like for whatever reason it's really hard to spike up to that high tier. And I don't know why, and I can't say it without making me sound like I'm just balance whining and saying that Zerg's no skill. Like, I don't believe that. I'll joke about it obviously all the time because it's hilarious, but like, I don't think that's the case. But there's got to be something there, because like, there's so many mid-tier Zergs. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, there was the round of 32 in GSL had like such a gigantic Zerg pool. They all immediately drop out into the round of 16. Basically, we were left with Sue, Dark, Rogue, and Solo didn't make it. So it was literally 3. Yes. And now it's only Rogue.
Right.
Like, something is happening there. And I don't know what it is. I can't explain it. I mean, I'm not a Zerg, so I'm not looking at every single game immediately, like, to super analyze it, so I'm not going to pretend like I know exactly the reason. But there's just something where there's like a mid-tier and a high tier that just can't be breached, and it's just so interesting. Go ahead.
Someone recently, and I forget where it was. Maybe you'll remember. Was it here in Marines interview? I don't remember. But someone said that not even the Korean Zergs are playing like Cyril.
Yeah,
Cyril is the best Zerg right now that we have, and there's everything is so much better. And I forget who said that. Do you remember?
I don't know.
Okay,
But
someone said.
I feel like like there is some things that foreigner Zergs do that others the Korean Zergs don't. And it's interesting because then you see the ones that are doing well are the ones that are trying to do those other things. Like, like Rogue is someone who does some weird crap sometimes. Like he does like Nidus. He's not afraid to do Nidus plays. He's not afraid to do the Swarm Host. He's not afraid to do like crazy things like that. He's like attacking all over the place. And that's kind of stuff that we see out of foreign Zergs. Like they'll be the ones that'll try to throw those weird ass cheeses that don't make sense, or they'll try to do the Nidus plays, or they'll make Swarm Hosts because they think they're good. Like, and then Cyril's like the super up there, where he's not even doing weird stuff like that, but he's just doing it so well. Like I don't understand. I don't get it.
I need to get a Zerg and I need to ask him about this because it does seem to be the talk of the town currently is how Zergs are performing. For instance, at Austin right now we're on day 2. In case this comes up much later, it's 4 ZVZs and they're out of 16.
Which is what's happening right now, and I'm totally fine to not be seeing those right now.
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's just like it's always so weird to see when those regions really start to bounce up and down. And there's so many things to talk about too. Like there's been a bit of a rise of the foreigner Terrans, so it's no longer locked down by the Koreans. But
I mean, it kind of still is a little bit though.
It absolutely is. But we have Euthermal trying to break the molds, and we have Clem. He's 16. He might just be the best. He might be Maru in 4 years. You know what I mean? Like it could happen.
Maybe.
He's
so tiny. It's so funny.
Everyone that you go around and they're like, "Is he Clem?" I feel so bad. I feel so bad for the guy. Like it might have been funny when he was 12, because he's an actual kid. But now he's 16, and I'm just like, oh man, if I was 16 and I got all that, I would have been like, this is the worst.
It's so funny.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna end it here, I guess, because then we'll just talk forever about this stuff. But thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Want to do a quick shout out to everything that you do?
Sure. You can check me on Twitter at ggemini19. It's not actually GGEmini like Mr. Artosis thinks. You can check me there. Twitch is Gemini SC2. Go to AllThingsProtoss for anything that you need Protoss related. There's a whole list of things that you can do there. You can get replays and everything like that. I'm not wearing their shirt today because I wanted to wear my nice meme shirt that I got in Korea, actually.
That's actually out of Korea.
Yeah, I got it. It's just in a store. It just had it.
Of course it was.
And I was just like, yes, this is mine. Because this was also when I was teamless, too, so I was like, this is my New Jersey. But, so Scythe Esports, they just recently signed me. Toast, the manager, he does Dank Shrine. Super happy, unbelievable dude, super supportive, helping me out to come here. We're good friends, so big thanks to him and Scythe. Thanks for doing this interview. Appreciate it. Always like being able to get the word out a little bit more about myself, I guess. Hopefully. Give those nice sellouts.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. All right, guys. Make sure to stay tuned for more interviews. Bye-bye.